Yeah, I'm just saying in case the live stream is crap, you'll at least have a recording of it.
Oh, snap. I think it's working now.
Oh, good.
Okay, yeah. Awesome. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Work Smart, Not Hard. This is a weekly meeting, and we have Bray and Rita. How are you guys doing?
Doing great. Thank you for hosting this.
Yeah, I love it. It's been awesome talking to you guys on a regular basis. I feel like I have a YouTube family.
There you go.
So I'm going to the live stream. I just want to open up the chat real quick. My videos. It still says the title is still wrong. I have to change it. 1 minute. The title of this should not be day trading and course creation. Now it's going to be a stream of me changing a YouTube live stream info.
What
Hey,
is
Brian.
today's topic about?
I didn't actually figure that out. I was going to talk to you guys. I think we can. I really like having an accountability thing where we figure out a task and then we talk about it next week. I also like doing the courses, though. I would like the idea of doing both of them, but I don't know if that's like realistic in a time sense. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I like the courses. If anything else, I definitely like that. To
Yeah.
take a look at some course and go over it together. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I like that too.
Is there anything?
And I like the accountability. The accountability doesn't have to take too long, does it?
No, not really. I guess. Yeah. It depends because sometimes when people don't have a confident answer, then the act of finding a confident answer can take 20 or 30 minutes, you know?
That's true. Maybe you could do an hour for taking courses and an hour for accountability. Something like that.
Yeah, we can play around with it. Also see who joins, that kind of thing, because the structure of this call is kind of hard to predict because when it's just you guys and I can count on you guys showing up, then that makes it easier to structure certain things. But when there's also other people joining and we need to make sure that they feel included, you know, it changes. So we have to kind of retain flexibility because the idea is that anybody can join if they want to, right? So we don't want people to feel like this is like an exclusive thing and have them not join and participate, you know?
Of course.
But how, let's just chat for a while for now, and we can touch on this later. So what have you guys been doing with your 2020s? It's what, like 2 weeks into, 11 days into the new,
The new year. Yes. 2020. Everything at all-time highs. Yeah. Well, I'm definitely. I finally got my image from Udemy. Looks crazy weird, but you know,
crazy weird. You don't like it?
It's a high quality image. It like I don't know. It doesn't like explain. Like it doesn't give a sense of what's in the course. It's just a photo of some graphs. But you know,
Whoa, wait! This
it's
is
free.
for your day trading course, and it's showing
Yeah.
graphs. That's perfect. What else is it gonna show?
True.
They're not allowed to use any text. They can only use images and colors. So what would it show for stock trading aside from a graph?
Maybe
Maybe
like maybe like I don't know. I forgot that they couldn't have text.
How about a big stack of $100 bills?
Yeah, right.
That's a lot of courses
Right.
thumbnails.
That's too funny. But no. So I'm still making new videos for that. I'm not gonna use the Skillshare videos. So hopefully I'm try to have that done by Sunday.
Nice. That's
Yeah.
exciting. And so Udemy is super flexible. Like once you have one course that's approved, they don't do anything for your approval process after that. You can just click submit, and then they are nowhere near as picky as they are with your first course. Because I guess the logic in their heads is like, you passed one, you're fine, you know what you're doing. Because after that, like, they won't even like watch the entire course to see audio and video quality necessarily. Um, and also, like, keep in mind, you can literally change every single lecture in the entire course. Like, at any point, a student can download a copy of your course so they could have the old lectures, but there's nothing stopping you from adding lectures, deleting lectures, and replacing them with new ones. Um, it's super flexible. Like, you don't need to, like, keep it in its current state. You can literally gut the entire thing, change it all you want, and there's not really any repercussion there. Unless it
Okay,
screws your
good,
metrics
good.
up and you're making horrible updates, of course, then people don't like that. But
Another thing I want to do is like create a landing page so I can start getting emails, maybe offer them a free ebook or something,
yeah,
and try to start a Discord chat
that's smart.
and have them sign up through that for the emails.
Yeah, if you can think of something you can something useful that you can teach or give away or explain. Usually whenever you're getting people's email addresses, you want to view it as like a trade because they're giving you something valuable, so you have to make sure that, you know, they're getting something or they already got something. But it'll be cool
True.
seeing how you handle like dealing with email lists and that kind of thing.
What's going on, Rita? What you got going on this week?
Well, I had my consulting call with Jack on, I think, Friday. No,
Yeah,
can't
yesterday.
be right. Oh, wow. And and Jack, and I talked about content creation for me, and I kind of somehow landed on doing something different for now, for content creation instead of doing the dog sitter life right now, because that one's going to be, I believe, a lot more complex. I'm just going to do a what sold on eBay video channel, and I'd already thought of this, but I hadn't done anything with it yet. But it's just I can do it really easily. I even did my test run yesterday. You guys already know this, but I did my test run yesterday with just while I was walking dogs. I signed up for a screen sharing app on my Android, and then I made a video, and I like it, because I'm not showing my face yet, and I'm just kind of getting an idea how I want to format it. So basically, Bray, what I do is go in and I look at recent sold, like under a specific item. Like I did a men's Nike jacket. So I looked up all the used men's Nike jackets that had sold, and then I sorted them by most expensive to least expensive, and then I just go through each one and sort of look at them, talk about them, describe them, whatever. And I'm just kind of still experimenting with it, but I think it's something people would listen to. And I'll also do like middle of the road stuff, because when I research for stuff to thrift, like if I wanted to get to know a niche, I would do a price filter too. Things that sold for $35 to $100. And so I don't know. Yeah, I just think there could be a lot of, that's just one example. Like you could do like all the weird stuff that gets sold on eBay too. Like you could do, I don't know, dentist chairs. I guess I heard this people have sold dentist chairs on eBay, and I think it could be really interesting, because I really like what sold videos that some other people do. But they're doing their own, their own goods that have sold. I'm just doing random, everybody. So it's sort of like, it's interesting to me without me having to sell on eBay. I don't like selling on eBay, but I still like some aspects of eBay, and I like the research. So, yeah, I made a little video yesterday, and it felt good just to. It felt good. It was kind of easy.
Momentum.
Mm-hmm.
Got some momentum.
Yeah, so I just need to sit down and make a real one, because I'm going to race that one, because it was. You could hear me walking. You could hear my feet. Just like that, So I just, I'm just playing with it right now. I couldn't believe how easy it was to do it while I was walking dogs. That's what I need, because my dilemma has been I'm kind of tired after I finish walking dogs, and I just don't really feel like doing much. So it's got to be pretty easy, something I can do in the car,
Yeah,
and
like
I
while
think
you're
it could be. Huh?
Or while something you can do while you're working instead of having to do it afterwards when you're tired.
Yeah, like I could do it in a spare moment, a spare 10 minutes, really, like when I'm having lunch, after lunch or something like that, just when I have, spare time in between jobs. And I think it's something that I think some people would listen to it. I really do. I like to listen to stuff like that when I'm driving, or sometimes when I'm walking dogs. I like to listen to things. I'm not always looking, but I listen,
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like a podcast, really,
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
See what
That's
happens.
good. That's good. Keep doing it, Rita. I'm watching.
All right. Yeah, I'll send you a link, Ray, and you can, if you want to look at my experiments, you can. But don't feel obligated. It's not very, pretty rough right now.
Say, start somewhere for sure.
Because Ray, I had said in the Discord group that I had made a video, so he went to my Dog Sitter Life channel and subscribed, and then he's like, "Where are the videos? Where's the new video?"
I was looking.
Anyway.
I was like, "Oh, she said she did it," but I was like, "Oh, okay, maybe it's a test YouTube channel or something." And then, yeah.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. So you've been doing it a long time, Ray. You've been making videos for a long time. So when I was younger, I would just jump in and do stuff. I'm just getting so cautious as I get older, because I guess life experience, you get battered around a little bit, and so sometimes it's harder to jump into things.
Well, it's what you tell yourself, I'm sure there's plenty of people who got less cautious as they got older, and then they died. I kind of become a bit less cautious in some ways. There's this part of me that gets much more used to being alive and all the sensations of life, and I've definitely been able to just throw myself into scenarios because I don't really care a whole lot, which is useful, but isn't always necessarily healthy. I've learned to be healthy with that, but I wouldn't say it's accurate to say that all people become less or more cautious. It's very contextual. It's based on what experiences you're having in your life, and we have experiences that vary completely, so it's all about the language. But this does touch on a subject, so for more context to any of you guys listening, whenever you are interested in making or becoming a YouTuber or running a YouTube channel, it can be easy to get kind of paralyzed with all of the information, and you may know that you're supposed to do one video per week, and you're supposed to put a lot of time into it, and it's supposed to be a certain way. It's supposed to be predictable in the content, right? Now, the problem with this is, it is true that if you want to run like a really popular, profitable YouTube channel, you need to be answering people's questions with predictable content about a specific category, etc., etc., etc. However, in order to get to that point, you're often much better off just publishing as much content as you can so that you can get comfortable and so that you can confidently understand in your head what people actually want. If you haven't published any YouTubers, or if you haven't published any YouTube videos before, and you want to be a YouTuber, if you try and make perfect videos and you don't publish anything because you want it to be perfect and you don't think it's good enough, you're never going to get there. But if you publish videos so often that you just get used to it, you can create content easily. It's normal for you. The chance of you actually then following through with a diligent plan and succeeding is much, much more likely. And I want to bring this up because so many people want to do YouTube, but they become scared of it. They become too critical and they don't publish videos. And imagine a scenario where you want to be a YouTuber. And 3 years ago, you published a video every other day until today. And even if you, actually, let's say you stopped 1 year ago. That would mean for 2 years, you published 300 videos. Now imagine the situation you're in. You learned a lot. You can look at all those videos. You can see the ones that did well. You don't have to guess. You can look at the data that you have acquired and then make an educated decision on what you want to do to become a more talented and better YouTuber in the future. And that's one of the things that I enjoy so much about YouTube, is that as long as you're creating content regularly, it is pretty obvious what you need to do to improve. You're going to be able to look at a video that did really badly, and you're going to be able to look at a video that did great and compare them. You're also going to inevitably build a sense of what kind of videos you like and what kind of videos you like to create and what kind of videos you know will actually do well, because these are very different. And a lot of people who do YouTube are like, oh, I'm going to really enjoy this video, I'm going to have a lot of fun making it. That doesn't necessarily mean that your audience is going to really like the video and share it a lot, right? For me, for example, anytime I do a video about death or sadness or trauma or cancer or any of that, I love those videos because they're so hard to make, and to be emotional and to remain articulate and remember what I'm talking about is incredibly valuable for me. That skill is really useful because it means that whenever something intense happens in my life, or if I'm talking to somebody who has authority or is very well known, I don't get nervous. I'm not worried or anything. I can just completely be myself and be comfortable. And this leads to me getting into a lot of really good networking opportunities and situations because it's easy for me to impress people. But the only reason I'm able to be confident in these real life situations is because I've made all of these ridiculous YouTube videos where I'm pouring out the most intense things that have happened to me in my life and that I've been through, and I'm crying and all that, because from my perspective, if I can show that publicly, then I'm getting rid of my biggest weaknesses. I'm challenging the things in myself that are holding me back, right? But that's how I feel about this content. The reality is that that kind of emotional content doesn't perform well at all. Most people don't care about it, right? And I'm just talking about this because as a YouTuber, you'll develop this. You'll develop an understanding of the kind of content that is best for you and what you want and how you progress, but also an understanding that this, in its very nature, is not the same as the content that gets viewed and shared the most. And you're going to be able to understand, okay, this kind of content is my work. This is what I can do, and I can grow it, and I can predict that people will share it, and you can get traffic that way and understand it and not be surprised. The problem is when you are creating this emotional or whatever content that's connected to you as a person, and you're expecting that because it's important to you, it's going to be important to other people. It's really important that you don't make that mistake, because all of us do. You need to understand that there's content that's good for you and you feel good about, but by its very nature, that is separate from content that is more diligent and will kind of allow a channel to grow, if that makes sense. And so what really helps is to have a solid understanding of what your channel is for. And something I'm recommending that people do now moving forward, if you're interested in YouTube, is to have multiple channels. It really is beneficial to have a channel kind of like my YouTube channel where you just do whatever you want. You post videos just for the act of posting them. You are not trying to be perfect. You are just focusing on getting stuff published, trying new things, experimenting. And then you can learn a whole bunch from doing that. And then you can have these other channels that are based on the information that you've learned from having these more experimental channels. And these channels you can be more specific on, and you don't have to worry about, like, with your free channel, you can make content about whatever you want. You don't have to put it in a certain category. You don't have to be in a certain mood. So if you limit yourself to only having one of these specific channels, you're often going to find that you want to make a certain kind of content, but you can't because it's not relevant to your YouTube audience. But that's a problem, because anytime you want to create content, you should create it. You should take advantage of that energy and get something published, because that's going to be what you learn from. And so many of my videos, I didn't think anything of. I thought they were crappy. And that individual video ended up leading to some series of events that caused a change in my lifestyle, right? So really, anytime you feel any interest in publishing something, you should do it, really. And that's why it's so important to have multiple channels, so that you have that freedom and that flexibility. You don't just want one channel that you do everything with, but you also don't just want one channel where you can only do a specific kind of content. You're really better off having one open, broad, like general channel that you're not focused too much on growing, and then other specific channels that have a more regularity to their content, a predictability to their content, and these you can focus on growing. But if you focus on one versus the other, you're probably worse off. You really should have this flexible channel and also a specific channel. But I guess it depends on what you're doing, because, like, for me, I just needed a general channel. That has enabled me to change my life. But the main reason for that is because I was willing to change my location, which really reduced the amount of money that I needed to earn to actually affect my life. But I just figured I'd go on that rant for any of you guys who are listening and who are hearing Rita and Bray talk about this YouTube stuff. It's definitely a big opportunity for people. Bro, I'm looking at Browing's messages. But by the way, man, you should. I personally don't care at all. I think it's super funny that you're telling all of us about your crush. But it will probably bore a lot of people, because most other people won't care at all. These are the only comments right now.
Yeah, just he sounds like he's kind of a creative writer. So I didn't know if maybe there was a creative writing group or something, maybe that maybe people be more engaged.
I think he just wants friends. Seems like a younger person is in school and just wants people to talk to and friends, and we're an open, receptive group.
Yeah. And that Discord group isn't, I don't think it's super, what do you call it? I don't think people are in there that much. So it's he probably won't get much response.
It's just
that's the other thing too. He won't get a lot of response
to coordinate these calls, really.
Yeah. So I guess I need a third. I gotta get a third third YouTube channel that I could just go on there and rant about my life. I'm just kidding.
Hey, no, be serious, because that might really help you out. Me and Jack was playing around with YouTube therapy, and people just want to get stuff out of them. So maybe that might be a good idea. You don't even have to post the videos. You can put it on private, some of the videos.
Then I can look at it later and cringe.
She's got to make them public.
Nah, not cringe.
That part's important. If you don't,
what's important, Jack? I didn't catch that.
Making them public. Because if you just upload them to YouTube and they're private, I mean, you may as well have not uploaded the video, unless you actually do use it for something in the future. But I'm just, so many times in my life, I made a video, I felt it was shitty, I didn't care about it, I thought it was crappy, I was insecure, but someone watched it, it did something, and that caused me to live in this country, or to have a regular consulting client that consults with me enough to pay my rent and stuff. That's something with Sweet. And all of this is from videos. It's all from just, like, you never know what one video causes something to happen. It's like, it makes so many of those butterfly effects. Is that it? Where one small action causes
Let's say chain reaction.
domino. Is that
Domino.
it?
There we go. Yeah, there
Domino.
we go. Yes.
Chain reaction. Yeah, I guess those are all the same.
Because the butterfly effect is like
It's part of
kind of
chaos
like
theory, isn't it?
time. Yeah, it's kind of like messing with time zones and stuff. I don't know.
Butterfly. Wait, is this okay? This is what butterfly effect is in my head. Butterfly flaps its wings, inadvertently causes tornado in some other place. Are we
Oh,
thinking about the same things?
I never really truly understand what
I
butterfly
think so.
effect.
Yeah, because the ripple effect is not quite. It's similar, but not quite the same. Because could be a ripple effect or a
Straw that
butterfly
broke
effect
the
that
camel's
happens.
back. All these phrases are kind of related to each
Yeah, there
other.
we go. There we go.
Tipping point.
That was a good book.
Yeah.
Actually, I didn't
Yeah,
read that book. I don't know why I said that. I just know it is a book. I should have said that's a book.
It's pretty much, what it all comes down to is just taking that action you was talking about. It's just going in, taking action, maybe review your past couple weeks and see how many days did you take action and just try to make a game out of it. How many times can I take action today? That's what it all comes down to.
You want to articulate more about that? What do you mean by taking action?
Well, some people want to plan everything out, and I say, fail 50 times, and on that 51st time, you'll know exactly what to plan for. You done made all the mistakes. So, but I think it's kind of hard for people to accept making those mistakes, and they're like, no, I want to do it right the first time. But that's not how life goes. You never get stuff right the first time. So.
Yeah, the path to success is paved by failure.
That is so true. I hate making mistakes. I hate wasting time, and I want to be successful right away. I just see this about myself. I want to be successful right away. I don't want, it's a little bit of, it might be a little bit of laziness, or it's, I want to work smart, not hard, whatever, but it's, I don't like, I want to be successful right away, but it just doesn't work that way typically. You hear about the people that just, you hear about like PewDiePie, he's just making these video games and now he's a multimillionaire, but that doesn't happen all the time. And who knows how many horrible videos he made before he also started making ones that caught on.
He was selling hot dogs. That was like what he was doing when he started. He was literally selling hot dogs and making YouTube videos.
I love it.
He did not start glamorously at all.
Oh,
he actually
man.
got fired from that hot dog stand.
I can see that happening with his type of personality. He probably was just. Oh, I did not know that, man. That's cool. That's cool, man. It just shows you that at any moment you could just hit that gear, hit that first gear, start doing something, then hit that second gear, quit your job or something, or get fired, and you're like, all right, I'm all in.
Yeah, you just got to stick with
gear.
it.
Yeah.
That part's super important. It's also important to have a clear definition of what you actually want. Because something like success is, you can spend your whole life chasing success and feel like you failed while other people feel like you've succeeded, but you never really feel accomplished. Like, that's, a lot of people live that way, and you have to be really careful. It's better to focus on like what the details of success mean to you, because these are more like achievable things. Like, say that you want to be in a, like for me, I wanted to be in a community where I was around people who I wanted to be like and I respected a lot. When I was in the USA, I really struggled because I had friends, and I don't mean to be offensive about most of my friends in the U.S., but I didn't want their lives. I didn't want to be like them. I thought that their lives were really, really boring. They just didn't. They didn't have eventful lives. In the time that I went to Nicaragua the first time, and then came back 9 months later, I had had so many life-changing experiences in that 9 month period of time. And most of the people I knew in the U.S. were literally doing the exact same thing. There were objects in their houses that I had left there, and they hadn't been touched or moved at all. And it really showed me that, for me, the people I'm around are so important, and that's something that was important. I wanted to change. I wanted to be around people who were inspiring me to become stronger and to clean more and to focus more on like confronting hard conversations and getting them out of the way instead of putting them off forever like most people do. Most people just act like they don't feel a certain way, they ignore their problems, and then they only deal with them if they absolutely have to because they're forced to. But aside from that, they're going to put them off most of their lives. And that's how most of the people I was around were. And that's changed now. But also, like, you have to understand that you're always going to want something new. Once you have what you want now, you will want something else. That it is impossible to feel completely satisfied in this life. And so when you're talking about something like success, it's really important that you have a clear definition to what that means to you. Because there are tons of people who you would perceive as really successful, but they feel like failures. And you have to be so careful with what you're telling yourself for that reason. Because if you're not careful, you're going to find that you have everything that you want and you don't necessarily feel good about it. And that's something that happens to loads and loads and loads of celebrities. There is an abundant amount of lyrics and songs talking about this phenomenon where you achieve what you want. You have your dreams, you have your goals, you have everything you thought you wanted, and you thought you would be happy by now. I thought I would be happy by now. I thought I would be well off by now. I thought I'd be better off now. Like, these are lyrics in songs regularly. It's really important. I want you guys to understand that what you tell yourself, what you think of success, you really have to understand it well. Because it is possible to spend your whole life chasing it. And even though you're actually making progress, you're actually getting the things you want, ultimately, your mentality and your ability to be happy without things is more relevant to your success than the things you actually achieve. So, Rita, when you say success, what does that mean to you? What are you talking about?
Did I use that word? I don't
We've
remember
all used that
using
word at some point. At this point, I've forgotten exact context. I'm just trying to figure out what is success to you, and then we'll figure out what is success to Bray.
Well, it's funny. When I was raising my kids, I was a single parent, and I was broke all the time. And I remember, like, I was a Christian, and I was praying to God, if I could just pay my bills, I'll be happy. You know. Now my kids are grown up, and I have my bills. My bills get paid regularly, and I have some discretionary income. So in those terms, I am a success. I guess my reason for wanting more financial success. Well, there's a couple. There's someday I might not be able to work anymore, so I feel like I need to have some money for that, some investments or whatever for that, so I don't have to be stressed about money when I'm old. And the second thing is I want to be location independent, and I'm not location independent right now. I want to be near my daughter that's planning to have children, and I really can't do that right now unless, I don't know. I really can't even do that right now. And she only lives an hour away, but I want to live, in the same city and be available to help her when she becomes a mother. And she's agreed to that. That's all, agreed to. So right now, success for me would be having, income coming in that isn't dependent on where I live, so I can live anywhere. And it also would mean having enough income to put away for the future for when I can't work anymore. So, presumably a YouTube, or content creation could be done well into your senior years. But, you may be tired, you may be sick. There's no guarantees of health, in your future life. So I just want to be prepared for that, that if that were the case. So that's kind of, where I'm at with wanting financial success, more financial success.
That's good. That seems solid. You're able to articulate that you want location independence, which is that it sounds like that it's not so much that there's a certain number that you need to hit, it's more that you need to have some location independent income that needs to exist, and then because that you'll be able to then grow that once it exists and it's regular, right? It's more about just getting it established, it sounds like.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't really feel comfortable moving down to where my daughter lives, until I think I should have I'm going to be paying taxes and everything. So, let's say $3,000 a month I could survive on,
Mm-hmm.
And I could always pick up a couple dog walking things too, if I had to. But the whole idea of me being there is to help my daughter, so I can't be working around the clock.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's
interesting. That makes sense. What about you, Bray?
Yeah. I actually think about this a lot because I do hear those stories a lot about, how you think people are successful or they're getting everything they want, but they're not happy. They're not happy at all. And, my whole main goal is just to get out of my job and have my own income that, is a direct result of my actions. So it's like, okay, so, when I get out of my job and I'm able to, accomplish that goal, am I gonna feel unsatisfied? I don't really think I won't because I have a certain type of personality that I can be pretty much jolly or happy in almost any situation. But that's just through my belief system and my past experience I went through. So for other people, it really gnaws on them and grinds on them. Like they have to keep achieving more and keep doing more. And I think you just have to learn to really learn about yourself, learn about your strengths and weaknesses and learn what's really important to you in your life, So I really don't think about, me being a successful person. I just really just think about doing the best I can all the time. Always just think about doing the best I can. And I think it just turns out better if I think about it that way, other than seeing if I can exactly achieve what I want to achieve.
Yeah, that can be super tricky.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, that's something
So,
that I definitely went through, and I still am growing through for sure. Because there was a point in my life where I wanted to have my own job, and that's what I cared about. And I think that had a bit to do with my childhood because I was super close to my father. My mom worked all the time. It was kind of this flip. She was the breadwinner, and my father was the one who stayed at home and took care of me. And then my father died, and my mother um, had to keep working even more, right? So for most of my childhood, my mother was very absent, not because she wanted to be or anything, but because she had to be for her job. And I think this kind of contributed a lot to me becoming the way that I am, where I don't want to have to work all the time. I don't understand the point of working 8 hours a day for other people when your focus should be on yourself and your family and your friends. It doesn't make sense at all for me to spend more effort on people I don't know or care about as much. I should be putting most of my effort in the people that I care about most, right? Um, and I think also losing my father caused that to be very real because even when I was 15 or 16, I was thinking about this. I was like, okay, this is the path all my friends are going down. But I think that I can just step out of that. I don't have to do the same things they're doing. And if it wasn't for the death, I probably wouldn't have been able to do that. I would have continued down the path, still feeling like I wanted to have a more free life where I could work on what I wanted to, but I probably wouldn't have been able to break away from the crowd, so to speak, so early. But to get back on topic here, I definitely felt that if I could just spend all day doing whatever I wanted, regarding sleep, for example, I thought that there's like an amount of sleep that you can get where when you wake up, you just want to be awake. Like, I thought that was real. But now I understand that as a person who I can sleep in every day. There's very rarely reasons that I have to get up. Like, I can always just shuffle stuff around if I really want to. I understand now that no matter what, no matter how much sleep I get, I'm always sleepy when I wake up. There is, and that moment, it means so much. Let me get more into that, because you can think that you can create a scenario in your future where you can sleep enough that you won't feel sleepy when you wake up, and you won't have to battle to wake up. But the reality is, no matter what happens in your life, when you wake up, you will always want to stay asleep. And the trick isn't changing your whole life so that you have enough sleep so that you don't feel that way. The trick is learning to fight it, and learning that regarding sleepiness, for example, if you have a sedentary life, you are going to be sleepy. You have to do active things to wake up. So if you wake up and you're tired and you go out on a run, you're much more likely to actually wake up than not. And this is I'm using this as a metaphor here, because there's a lot of things in life that are like that. You can think that if your circumstance was different, you would do what you want to do, or you would be a different person or whatever. But the reality is, even if your circumstance was different, you probably would be pretty similar to how you are now. And it's not about changing the circumstances to make things easier as much as it is changing your mentality and learning to kind of fight the things that you don't want to deal with. That part is really, really, really important, and also something that's really challenging.
Yes, very challenging. Oh,
Sorry, go ahead.
no, go ahead, Rita.
Oh, I was just going to share that I'm not going to go for a run or anything first thing in the morning. That's never, well, I shouldn't say never. It's probably never going to happen. But I find it helpful to read when I first wake up. You know, it sort of gets my brain starting to fire, and then it's easier to get out of bed. I don't know if that'll help anybody, but I just thought I'd share that.
That makes sense. I feel that way about reading as well, because it's something that it doesn't take a whole lot of energy to do. It's reasonably relaxing, and you can kind of lose track of 10, 15, 20 minutes, and then by the time you're getting distracted again or whatever, you're a bit more awake, you're not thinking as much about being asleep. I personally have a lot of luck with tasks like that as well. Like, for me, one of them is doing laundry. Something about waking up and feeling the water and the wind. The weather's always really nice first thing in the morning here. It's really relaxing, and it's not too energy consuming. Doing laundry is super boring, but it's a great way to wake up. I just go there, and sometimes I even look forward to it, which I don't really understand why, because I guess it's just because it's relaxing, like the act of putting your hands in water when it's hot and feeling the wind on your face, and there's all these nice things about it. We also do our laundry on the roof, so there's a great view and wind and stuff, which is convenient. That helps. What about
So
you,
y'all
Bray?
manually do the laundry?
I do, yeah.
Okay.
I don't have to, though. There is someone across the street with a washer, and it costs like 2 cords per item of clothing. So that's like a couple pennies. So it's super cheap. But I
Hmm.
personally find that, like, uh, so I've mentioned before how when I focus on my environment and maintaining, like, eating properly, getting exercise, I inevitably do the work stuff. I don't have to focus on work. I have to focus on the parts of my life that are, like, necessary for my body to be at my best, and then I will inevitably just do the rest of the stuff. And I used to focus too much on the work, and I would always neglect my body. And then that would put me in a situation where I'm not at my best to do my work. And so now I'm changing my priorities, and I'm telling myself that cleaning is work, cooking is work. So if I didn't do any computer work in a day, I used to beat myself up, even if I had cooked for the past 48 hours and fed a bunch of my friends and cleaned a bunch of stuff. Now I'm really trying to change the way that I think so that I view cooking and cleaning as work, because then I feel like I'm more productive. Because that's something I'm pretty good about doing. I cook on a regular basis, I clean on a regular basis. But in the past, I didn't really value it as much as I do now. And now I'm really trying to prioritize this, because if you start at the core of the root of who you are, and you make sure that you have everything you need to be at your best, inevitably you do better in the things that you put in front of yourself. Whereas if you just try and force yourself to change, everything's temporary. It's like a rubber band. You always snap back to the way that you were. The only change that I think really lasts is very kind of slow, incremental progress. It's more about like just doing something every day to be a bit better than it is just changing everything all at once. Because, as I mentioned before, it ends up being like a rubber band. You just snap back to the way you were.
Very good metaphor. Thank you.
So, is there anything that you guys want to focus on studying? Like any ideas for courses we can study? What do you have in mind? What's holding you guys back right now?
Well, we already did a course on the email list, and that kind of helped me out. Right now, I am trying to get a landing page. So, I don't have any ideas.
Website creation? I could benefit from that.
Okay.
Let's see. Do what? There's another thing. I hate knowing too much. Sometimes it's frustrating. But I want to learn about websites, right? Okay, so I've used Wix before and that kind of thing. And one of the recurring things about these websites, when you research people who have like pay to access membership websites, or they run blogs, everyone's always saying that you should get used to using WordPress. If you use another service, it's going to cause you problems later. And right now I'm like, oh, I could learn WordPress and take forever to do that, or I could just use one of these template building websites, right? And I really want to just use one of these template building websites, but maybe that's a bad idea.
Me too.
I don't know, man.
That's what I said to the Fiverr seller I was contacting. I was like, I want to use Wix.com to set up my landing page. They're like, all right, but WordPress and another one she said it's a little bit more better. I was like, God dang, all right, I'll use WordPress. I think you kind of think just because they're newer, and they got a little fancier look that they might be better. I don't know.
Yeah, so right now I'm looking at, okay, WordPress versus Squarespace versus Wix.
WordPress isn't too hard to learn, depending on what you want to do with it, especially for a landing page. That shouldn't be too bad. I've had a couple of WordPress blogs, and then I have my I think my dog business website is connected with WordPress, so that if I want to blog, I can and stuff like that. So it's just you can just do so much with it. It's really worth it, and it's
so
not
you're
really
saying we should just study WordPress?
that hard.
Yeah,
Huh?
You're saying we should just study WordPress and stop making excuses?
Yeah, because it's really not that hard. It's really pretty user friendly, and the thing is, because so many people use it, if you have questions, you can Google things, and there's just so many resources, and there's so many people that know how to use it. There are some frustrating things about it, like you can't like, yeah, I mean, one of the frustrating things when you start getting complex is you'll want to do these functions, and they've got, I forget what you call them. They're not the apps, but they got these things you can download into your
The
blog.
extensions.
Yeah,
I don't know if
apps
they
or
call them extensions, but
same thing,
yeah,
just different name.
and the thing, you just can't download too many of them. They're kind of like shortcuts, but if you download too many of them, it bogs down your site and makes it really slow. So there's things that are difficult about it, but it still just depends on how complex you want to be. I mean, Bray, if you're doing a landing page, you're going to be setting up payment processors and things like that, huh?
No,
Or you just
gonna use it for email list.
Oh yeah, so that shouldn't be too bad.
Okay.
It's actually nowadays to get something to accept payment is incredibly easy. You just like there's loads of different services. You don't have to know the details, but in order to get someone to pay for something via credit card on your website, it's very simple. There's so many different industries that benefit very much from that being convenient and have been benefiting from that being convenient for like a decade. So that's not something like in the past you used to need to do a lot of kind of raw coding and other stuff that now isn't even necessary. You literally just copy paste a sample of code and then log into a website and make an account. That's it. So you wouldn't need to worry about that in a world where you need to charge people. Because Bray's trying to make a landing page. I'm interested in this because I'm making the Spanish content project as a self-hosted website, and the payment format of that is monthly. So it's a $10 a month membership cost, but they get the first 30 days for free if they supply a credit card information to then charge them after 30 days. So the only thing I'm thinking about for myself as a foreseen obstacle is that I want a very large number of people to be able to engage with this service. Just because of the nature of it, it's something like I'm making this project now, but it's probably going to be what my work is. Like I will it will be what I keep improving. It will be what I talk to people about. I want it to continue to grow. It's something that like I basically did that with the dropshipping course, and then I lost interest in dropshipping. Whereas I'm building this in a way that I won't. I'm very unlikely to lose interest in it. So I just need to keep in mind that kind of scalability feature, which is one of the reasons that I brought WordPress up, because like I don't want to use it, but especially with Rita saying we just should, and also me knowing that in the future, if I pick a less stable option now, that's going to cause me problems. So sounds like I vote WordPress. I vote we do a course about learning about websites in WordPress.
All right, there we go. So it's gonna be one of the original. If they have an original Skillshare course on WordPress.
I'm not sure. I'm looking right now. Actually, I have to run to the bathroom real quick. Here is a link you guys can check out. 1 second. Bum, bum. I'll be right back. This is just the search for web design on Skillshare. It looks like there's a couple promising ones, but I'll be right back. Okay.
So, Bray, can I ask a quick question?
Oh yeah.
So when you're doing your trading, how many hours a day do you usually spend on it? I'm just trying to get an idea.
It's like 2.5 hours, 3 hours.
Okay. And then do you, so are you, like you said, you probably trade 2 to 4 stocks a day roughly. I'm not trying to pin you down on anything. I'm just trying to get an idea.
Oh yeah.
Are you looking at them all at once, or you just focus on one stock at a time?
So in the morning, I have my watch list of the stocks that are active in the morning, and I need to do a video on this. I set up my screen to where I can see 3 stocks and 3 charts at the same time. And then that's how I do it. So when the market opens up, I'm looking for, my specific criteria, what's going on. And as soon as I see one stock doing that, I'm jumping in, and then I'm quickly calculating where I would get out if the stocks start going downwards.
Okay. I feel
And
like
then
I'd have to have like feels like I'd have to have like so many screens open at a time. That's what it feels like. I'd have to have so many things going. It probably is that way, huh?
A little bit, but you can stick to just one screen, focus on one stock a day. That'd be cool. That'd be really good. If you just focus on one stock, see if it does something. If it does it, then okay, and then start looking at the scanner, see what's popping up on there.
And I can't even start at the beginning of the day because I'm basically driving at 6:30 a.m. So, which is California time, like you. So okay. I have to start later in the day. Like maybe I could start at 7:30, 8 o'clock California time.
Okay.
I don't know.
Or would you be open during between 12 and like 11:30 and 1 o'clock?
Sort of.
Yeah. Because that's
a good time. That's closing time, right?
Yeah, and that's a good time. The best two times for day traders is the 2 hours in the morning, 6:30 to 8:30, and then 12 to 1. That's the best times.
Yeah, I mean, I could kind of. I'll probably be walking a dog or something. As long as I'm not driving, I can do a lot when I'm walking dogs.
Okay.
Because I attach them to a belt usually, and so yeah, interesting. Okay, just trying to get an idea. I'm not going to become a full-time day trader, I've decided, but I still want to play around with it. I did sign up for my TD Ameritrade account, and but I'm not in the right section. What is it called? The section where you just do paper trades with no money.
Did you download the platform already, the Thinkorswim?
I don't think so. I just signed up for an account, so I need to get onto the Thinkorswim.
Yeah. If you go back to the video where we opened up the trading account, you can see how Jack configured downloading that Thinkorswim.
That's what I need to do. That's the video I didn't watch. Sorry. Sorry.
Yep. Do that, and then soon as you download that and you get to your login section where you put in your same login as you did for the website, you can click paper trading, and it'll do it.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry I didn't watch that. Now I'm asking you the questions about it. I skipped around a little bit. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, my brain works funny. My brain works funny. I have to just take the information in a certain way, certain order. So, it's really interesting. Are you getting closer to your goal? I think you said you wanted to make $100 a day on your trade.
Yeah. So it's working out in the paper trade account, and I just gotta make it happen with the cash account. So putting some more money.
You're doing both? You're doing a paper account and a cash account?
Yeah. Yep.
That's good. Yeah, that's so you can practice and play around with the paper.
Correct. And it is a different feeling when you're trading real cash. There's no way you can simulate it. So definitely got to get your feet wet.
Yep. That's good. Smart people.
No, that's good that you're doing it as a hobby and just slowly get into it, because maybe you might come into the position where you got those 2 hours open in the morning and you can actually take the time out to do it.
Yeah, that probably will happen within the next year, I imagine.
Yes.
The funny thing is, this week my daughter brought up day trading. She's 26. She's a married girl, and she's interested in money now. All of a sudden, it's a long story, but suddenly, you know, just getting to that place where she's interested in. I mean, she makes good money. She's an RN, but you know, she's looking at ways. You know, she wants to be a stay-at-home mother and just wants to make sure she has enough money, that they have enough money, her and her husband. And so she's, you know, it's funny. She brought it up this week. I was not expecting that at all because she's never been into anything like that. So it's kind of fun. And yeah, so she shared a Ricky Gutierrez from YouTube that does. You know him? Is he any good?
I'll say he's like he's a real deal business. So, you know, he puts out good information, but at the same time, you're not gonna get everything you need to get to the point where you want to be at, you know. When it comes to his stock trading videos.
So he's just whetting your appetite so you buy his course, I think.
Yeah, pretty much. And yeah, I definitely learned from him, you know, like not his stock trading stuff, but how his YouTube channel has grown and stuff. And
oh yeah,
he's definitely a good guy and stuff, but you know, some people just are not all the way teachers, you know. They know how to.
Yeah, he's a marketer.
Yeah, he's a marketer. Yeah, exactly.
He's really good. In fact, like he tells you exactly what to do. So I mean, he makes it easy. I mean, I really noticed this. I don't think of course, I don't click on much. I'm very, you know, like I don't. If I think it's salesy, I'm not going to do it, you know. But because my daughter mentioned him, I kind of said, okay, I'll go through this little process. So he tells you what to do on his YouTube video. Join my free Facebook group, and then when you do that, you start getting these automated messages from him. You might have seen it.
Yes.
I mean, he just gets to do the whole thing. So you're. I mean, it's a funnel.
You're
It's pretty good.
You're in his loop, and you're like, oh, he's got more information. You're like, okay.
Yeah. He keeps you watching his videos, and like today, I got one that said, "Congratulations on your 2-day anniversary with whatever the name of his thing is."
Your Learn, Trade, Profit. I think it is.
Whatever,
right?
Yeah. It's my 2-day anniversary, so that's his excuse to send me another, you know, another video or thing or whatever. You know what I mean? It's like, but it's very good. I mean, I'm so like jaded, like nothing gets to me as far as like paying money. Very few things, you know. But it's still like I can really see. You can really learn a lot from his marketing, I'd say.
Exactly. Yes. Very much so.
Well, I can't really look at the Skillshare thing right now, so that's why I'm talking about other things. I can't because I'm driving. But are there any good-looking courses there for WordPress?
Yeah, I could just pick one of these. So I can see there's like 3 or 4.
Okay. Sounds good to me.
Going through some more of them just to see. Oh man, how to create a WordPress website, 2016. I think that's 4 years old now. Jeez.
Oh man.
Okay, yeah, I found it. It's this one. Here, I will send the link.
Hey everyone, and welcome.
I will put it here. And also I guess I can make a new channel. Course, weekly courses. Okay, for 111. When's our next meeting? 118? Yeah, 118. Taking this course on WordPress. We will meet on 118 and discuss what we learned and our experiences. Felt wrong. Cool. Awesome. Picked a course, sent it. Everyone has access to it. Awesome. What's this thing on your screen, Rita? You're sharing your screen with us.
Is that reader screen or is that?
It's
Oh yeah,
Rita's
that is
screen.
reader screen.
Yeah.
I think her.
And now we also cannot hear her. That's kind of funny. Speaking about websites. Okay, so we've picked our course. We've picked... Yeah, we did that. So now we need our tasks. I'm going to go with us finding tasks and this. I think that's doable. Anybody know what... Do you know what your task is already, Bray? I still haven't figured
No, I
mine
don't.
out. Oh, man.
I was like, I'm kind of hoping it was just gonna do the course.
I got to figure out mine, too. Okay.
Oh man.
Do you feel close to finding it? Should we find yours or should we find mine? Which will be faster?
Find yours first.
Okay. So mine may be easier though, because it has to be about the Spanish content website. And basically, the most momentum. Okay, yeah. By next week, I've started at least one translation video. Then I'm making good progress. So that's my thing. I need to have. Okay, so let me explain what that process is. I need to have recorded a concept in English and then created a transcript in Spanish and then done at least one attempt at creating the Spanish version of that English video. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes. Okay.
But now I
You're
need a
breaking down the
notebook.
steps you
I
needed
gotta
to do.
write
Yeah.
down.
Okay.
Yeah. Because basically, so, okay, for the Spanish content website, yeah, I got to figure out the hosting stuff. I got to make the website. I got to do all that. But realistically, that will actually be a very small portion of the amount of time spent. Most of it is going to be struggling to translate English to Spanish, saying the Spanish stuff over and over again until I sound comfortable. That is by far going to be the most time-consuming part. So it makes sense that I start chunking away at that. Basically, I just need to be doing it a little bit, like 5 days a week for like 2 months, and then it'll be done. But I haven't started the actual Spanish part yet. I did make the list of all the topics, so now I just have to pick one, and by next week have made a Spanish version of that concept. And then the videos, these probably won't even get used in the website. I just need to become comfortable speaking about these basic concepts related to online earning in Spanish. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah.
Because then once I am comfortable, I'll easily be able to I'll understand, okay, this is what the video needs to be, and this is the role it's going to play in the website, and then I can make it. But I got to do the stuff to put myself in that position to see that clarity. So let me get my notebook, and you start thinking about what you got to do.
Okay. All right.
Can you guys still see my screen and all that, or am I good now?
You're good.
Oh, God. I was trying to send a link. I had a friend that was going to come on the call, and I was trying to send her a link, but something went wrong, obviously. I was sharing my screen. Hopefully there's nothing incriminating on my screen. No, I'm just kidding. But, you know, you don't want anything private going out in the world, you know?
Yeah,
but,
true. Why is your friend interested in joining?
Why? Let's see.
She's trying to do stuff online, or she just is just interested?
Yeah, she's actually a dog walker like me and dog sitter. And, you know, it's just, I mean, I'm guessing she'd like to make more money and things like that. You know, there's some different things. No, the usual reasons, I guess. Do you know your goals yet, or should I try to say mine or my accountability?
Yeah, I guess I'm gonna go ahead and choose that I need to make enough videos to be able to post my Udemy course by next week.
So more videos than you're already making? Because you make one a day, don't you?
Yep. So I'm making videos specifically for the course, going over how Jack told me to be a little, more specific, and just do a video for per subject, pretty much, and do that.
So your goal is to
Yeah, I noticed.
submit the course,
Oh, go ahead.
right?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Now, what's up, Rita?
I noticed in your last couple of videos that you're being a little more specific, explaining things. So that's really nice. That helps.
Okay. Good.
I mean, if you don't know, and there's a lot to it, and there's a lot of terms being thrown around. So it's like, whoa, it's intimidating when there's a lot of terms and you don't know what they mean. So it's nice when you explain some of the things you're talking about. It really helps a lot.
I'm kind of learning that from especially from Jack. But also learning that from Trump too. He knows how to
I just got
communicate
compared
very
to
simple.
Trump. Oh my God.
You didn't get compared to Trump. You guys have
Hey,
great communication skills.
love him or hate him. Love him or hate him. He knows how to appeal to the
A
common
general,
folk.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Just like Julius Caesar.
Yeah, well, people have legitimate concerns because the jobs are gone, and he knows that, and he appeals to them. He comes to where they are, and he doesn't, sometimes, part of the reason the other side lost last time, I believe, is, or at least, it was close. It was a close race, but part of the reason he got so much power is, the common people who have lost their jobs and are barely getting by, they don't really care about kind of social issues that much because they're just trying to survive. It's that hierarchy of needs, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So it's just, they don't really care about the LGBT rights. And I forget if I might have missed a letter. I'm sorry if I did. They don't really care about, they just can't care about that. They're trying to survive. So he knows that, and he's meeting them where they are. He gets it. He understands it. So, love him or hate him, there is something to learn there.
For sure.
That's something I can definitely confirm based on living in Wheeling in West Virginia. It's all coal.
Yeah.
And there's loads of people there who feel exactly like what you just explained. Used to be tons of jobs there. A lot of people have lost their jobs. Crazy. But anyway, okay, so Rita, my task is that I need to have created one Spanish version of one of these concepts for the Spanish content website. So this isn't like a published video or anything. It just means that I'm taking an English concept that I know needs to be in the Spanish content website. I'm recording an English version. I'm making a transcript in Spanish, and then I'm making an attempt of the Spanish version. The reality is I'm going to need to do like hundreds of these attempts in order to actually get comfortable enough to sound fluent for the final product. But this is the most time-consuming part of my work this quarter, is going to be working in Spanish with these concepts and just practicing over and over again. So I need to get some momentum started with that. So specifically mine is to do one of them, because once I've done one, then I'll just keep going. Ideally, I need to be doing like one per day, basically. But for now, it's okay if by next week I've started one of them. That means I'm on the way. And Braze is to have his Udemy course submitted by the next time we talk. So what would you like to pick?
I want to make another what sold on eBay video, and this time I want, I'm not going to try to do it perfectly. I got the message there on that. I'm just going to do it in my car so it's not noisy. And I'm going to, this time I'm going to do all the things you're supposed to do when you make a video, like give it a title, I don't know what you call all
Titles,
that. The
tags, and
titles,
descriptions. Yeah, the SEO.
tags and descriptions, and then publish it. And then I'm going to go on to Discord and maybe I don't know where else, but and tell people about it so I can get a little bit of support if anybody wants to, if they want to, And then what's the other thing that I want to do with that? I want to start participating in at least one forum that's related to, I guess, eBay, as it's eBay right now.
Okay.
I'm already kind of somewhat part of them, but under different names. So I think I need to. Yeah, probably the best place is, I'm guessing, YouTube. With the new, this what sold on eBay name. Use that handle account, and just do commenting, which I don't have a problem. That's not even work to me. That's fun.
Yeah, you mentioned you enjoyed that.
Just do some of that.
That's good. Okay, so your thing is to publish one what sold on eBay video, and then there's other stuff you're doing, but that is the specific stuff.
That's the frog that has to be swallowed. That's the hard one. That's the big one. Yeah.
I've heard frogs are easier to swallow if you cover them in oil first.
Ew.
Yep.
There is, how people talk about getting high off toads?
Yeah.
That's real? I thought that was bullshit, but it is actually real. There is one specific species of toad that excretes a form of DMT. So.
Yes, and I want to try it.
I think that's just cool.
You literally milk it. You massage the toad, and then the oil drops out, and then you dry the oil out, and you get like a powder, and you smoke the powder. That's insane. I watched this whole little spiel about it. I was like, what?
Oh, it doesn't even hurt the toad?
No.
Oh, well, that's not cool. Maybe they even like getting massaged. Probably.
Maybe. Yeah, it's just an excretion from the toad's gland, which is nasty. But
bizarre.
Quite a story.
And where do they do that? Is that in a certain country that's done, or what?
I believe the toad is native somewhere in South America, but I am not entirely sure.
Oh, so you have a really good chance of running into that and trying it out.
I don't know about really. I'm probably about as likely as you are because I'm in Central America, but I'm closer.
Oh, I'm showing my ignorance.
It's okay.
You don't know. Hey.
Let's see.
Sometimes it's better to just keep quiet, though.
Well, are you into that stuff? Doing the what's it called, the psilocybin and all that?
I went through a phase where I was really into that because my father died when I was a kid, and then when I was like 11, and then when I was 15, I had some experiences on hallucinogens that like made me able to talk about my father's stuff. It like showed me that if I don't express it and talk about it, it's gonna screw me. I think there's a lot of value. I was in a long-term relationship with someone with PTSD. So I played like a therapeutic counselor role using like MDMA and some other drugs. And that was ludicrously beneficial. Like, I'm excited for the point in society where therapy and counseling use hallucinogens and these other drugs to accelerate the therapeutic process, because we're definitely we were pretty far away from that like 20 years ago because everything was super illegal, but now everything's has funding for all this, which is really exciting because I can definitely tell you that seeing the effects of what MDMA had with therapy on someone with full-blown PTSD, it was like she was able to talk about things that she was not able to talk about before, and that 1 or 2 sessions actually made noticeable differences. And if you've ever been around someone with PTSD, to have progress in 1 session is insane. Measurable progress, that is ridiculous. So I have a lot of positive perspectives about that. I don't talk about it too much because it's illegal, but it is what it is.
Yeah, man. I really like how, society is changing and is being a little bit more open to that because, DMT definitely changed my life and my whole it kind of like resets you. It just
Yeah,
resets you and brings a whole new perspective in what's going on.
there's
So, yeah,
there's
I really like
definitely a
that.
correlation between like people who've had these intense kind of drug experiences are often more able to handle intense life experiences. Um, because I don't want to say that it's necessarily traumatizing, but I mean, one of these healthy trips is a little bit traumatizing. Like you literally get taken out of your body and put back into it. So you get to feel what it's like to not be you but still exist, which is crazy, like absolutely crazy.
Yes, yes.
so, so that's beneficial,
Uh,
yeah, because you just get put back in yourself and you're like, whoa, day one in my body. Holy crap.
yeah,
What have I been
and
doing?
you kind of like realize you never knew that you could even do that. Like you just jump into a whole nother world. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's something I used to have a lot of interest in, but then I had an experience actually with the same girlfriend where I was on mushrooms and so was she, and she broke up with me while I was on mushrooms. And like I could tell that the conversation was getting to that point. So like I'm completely tripping, yada yada, and she starts making some comments and my brain's like, "Oh, that is going to lead to this awareness and that is going to lead to this and that's going to lead to her breaking up with me." And then it happened. It was like tick 20 minutes later, this conversation. 20 minutes later, this one. And then the breakup. And ever since then, I just haven't really been that interested in him. But I understand I shouldn't let that one experience affect me too much, but it did. Definitely. Being broken up with is hard, but being broken up with on mushrooms is next
Oh my
level
god.
hard.
I cannot imagine. Man. Holy crap. That's one that I'm kind of like being a little hesitant to try is the mushrooms. And I don't know,
I think it's
it seems
calmer.
like
If you've done DMT, DMT is the craziest, definitely. LSD is up there just because DMT is more crazy than LSD, but DMT is gone in 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Whereas if you take
right.
a lot of LSD, you could be tripping for a day, which can be scary.
Very
But I wouldn't
scary.
worry too much about mushrooms. They're more mellow for sure. And you can just
Yeah.
take less, so you don't have to take a whole bunch of them.
Hmm. I'll think about it. Think about it. Hmm.
I gotta see if there's any live
Just
chat
don't do any
comments now.
mushrooms while you're trading, Bray.
Yes, very much so. I would definitely won't.
Maybe that's what he needs to do.
Right.
Hey, maybe, but it could go either way. He could do
It
really
can.
fantastically well, or he might just blow up the whole account and lose everything. You never know which way it could go.
Exactly right, and I can definitely be traumatized from that experience for
Yeah.
sure.
You may start like, because you're out of your body and whatever, you're just, why am I even doing this? That
Or
kind of
not
thing,
even
right?
that. Not even that. The next time I go to trade, I start seeing the same visualizations over and over. I'm like, all right, f this.
Oh God, yeah. I feel like it's kind of a dangerous thing. It's sort of, to me, it seems like playing with fire a little bit because it can go either way. I think
Either way, either way.
it could
That's
really
why I've
be
been a little
great
bit.
or really bad.
All right, guys. Is there anything you guys want to discuss? Anything? We've determined our tasks. We've picked our course. So I guess this means we have two things to do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're putting a lot on us.
Yeah.
Jack, I admire your goal. I mean, to create a course in a language that you're, not quite fluent in, and that's very ambitious. I'm impressed. I wish you the best with that. I mean, and I don't mean it. I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean, I really do. I think it's really amazing that you want to do
It'll
that.
be fun. I know for me, it's definitely something that will help me a lot. Because whenever I feel like I'm doing something that's actually useful to people, I feel very happy and fulfilled, and then I can use that energy to do a whole bunch of other things. It's kind of like if you're in a relationship with someone you're in love with, and like everything in life is just easier and better. I feel that way when I feel confident that I'm doing something to help people. And in the beginning with the drop shipping stuff, I felt that way. But with time, I stopped feeling that way. I didn't think like now I don't feel satisfied that I've made drop shipping information more accessible to people, if that makes sense. Just because so many of the people who are interested in drop shipping don't have the kind of patience and long-term interest to actually make it work. So I know that I've educated a lot of people, but I know that I haven't really helped people as much as I could, if that makes sense. Whereas the Spanish content website is very much like it's not limited to one subject. So even if there's not really something I could lose interest in that would cause me to not want to push the Spanish content website. And also I know that for me, like I will become better at Spanish because of this. And ultimately, if I don't do some project where I'm working with Spanish, I'm not going to get better. Like right now, I'm like kind of conversational. I can understand most things, but it'll probably stay like that until I really push myself in some way. And because I hate studying, this is perfect because I know that like there's so many people I've met here who only speak Spanish and they don't have a job, especially as a skater. Like none of the skaters have any money. They're all incredibly broke and they're always looking for work and that kind of thing. Um, there's loads of people that I've met where if I had something that was just like, hey, this is how you can earn money online from your country, speaking to you in your local language, that would be super useful. There's been like 40 or 50 people I've met in person who would have actually followed through and visited something like that. But it doesn't exist. Also, any speaking I do here at a university is like irrelevant until I have a product in Spanish for people. So there's a lot of reasons that I need to get this created because it like unlocks a lot of future stuff here. So I'm super excited as well. Also, it's like the most scalable thing I've ever done because there's very little competition. I don't really like the people who distribute information like this usually function on $1,000 model or more. They may charge $2,000 or $3,000, and they focus on getting a few students that pay a load of money instead of getting loads and loads of students that just pay a little bit each. And that's like what I'm doing. And you would normally like as a course seller, there's no financial incentive to sell in Central America or Latin America because there's just not that much money here. People can't afford to pay $1,000 a course, so therefore that business model doesn't really work here. But because I'm not trying to go from that perspective, it has the potential to be something that I do that sets me for like years. Like, because Udemy was kind of like that. Like, publishing the dropshipping course helped me a lot. I still get like $400 or $500 a month from that. Essentially, my rent has been paid by Udemy ever since I started on Udemy. So for like 2 or 3 years, and it pays more than my rent, but that's mostly just because I live in Nicaragua. And this content website's really exciting because it has the potential to be even more than that. Like, because to be honest, I don't mind that I don't earn much. I have a really amazing life. But one of the reasons I got into this line of work is knowing that it is possible for me to earn ridiculously good money off of work I did in the past and then be able to finance projects here. Like, like for example, some of my friends here want to rent an office so that we have another space to go to. And like that is feasible. We can just have another building. We could rent other houses. this kind of stuff is possible here. It's also possible to set up businesses, to start schools, all sorts of things that require more money. But that's a world I want to get into, is taking advantage of how cheap labor is here and how cheap real estate is and how cheap like everything is. And I need money to be able to finance all these interesting like side projects and that kind of thing. So I'm super excited as well. I know it's like the single best opportunity I have right now is to work on this website.
Very cool. Very cool. Sounds like it's going to fulfill a lot of different areas.
Yeah, I feel very confident. It's not like, oh, maybe this will work. I know I'll obviously have to tweak things, but I know loads of people here have phone access. They're on their phones constantly. So if I design it from a mobile perspective, that's solid. Loads of people are trying to find work but can't because there's not enough jobs. Like that's true in the States, but here it's even more true. There's even less work and even more people like struggling to find it. But one key distinction here is that in the States, people are more focused on living by themselves, whereas here, people are much more able to like you could be my age and not work because you live with your parents. That's like normal. That's something a lot of people here would experience. It's super common to live with your parents or your cousin or somebody in your family. Like, you don't really have a house with one person in it. That's super uncommon here. It's not common at all. Whereas in the States, that's kind of normal. It's way more common to have a house that, maybe is a husband and wife and that's it. Like here, that's very temporary. People are much more effective with like who lives in buildings. So I thought that because there wasn't as much work, there was more problems related to this. But there appears to be less homelessness than in the US, which is hard to understand because you would think that there's more hardship, but you don't see the same kind of stuff. Like you don't see just people like sleeping in the streets like you do in the US as much. That's definitely a problem here. But like I said, people are so much more likely to be able to have a home, even though there are like 8 other people in it. And this brings up another point about why I think that this is likely to be successful. And that's just because people also have loads of free time. I didn't realize that, but free time is really common here. So the average person in Nicaragua is looking for work, doesn't have enough work, has loads of free time, has cell phone with some kind of data or Wi-Fi access, and has a roof over their heads, probably from their family. And all of these point to being in a position to benefit more from self-employment, especially because in the US, you need like $2 or $3 grand a month to be self-employed, whereas here, $500 is all you need. So the chance of someone succeeding is also even more for that reason. So I think there's a bunch of reasons that indicate the stuff I'm trying to teach people is going to be received better than it would be in the US. Also, I like just being a Chele here gives me authority and gives me credibility because I am associated with wealth. Whereas in the US, I'm just some like hippie looking white dude. I'm just like another person. I'm definitely not associated with wealth. Whereas here, my appearance is a symbol. So people literally believe me and are more like they take me as more of an authority figure simply because of the way that I look. And that's not right, but it's useful. And in this case, it's relevant to me. Because again, in the US, like that's something interesting about being here, even on Tinder. Like the difference between Tindering here and Tindering in the US. In the US, it was like crickets for me. Like I feel like I'm a reasonably attractive person. Like I'm not. I wouldn't say too far on either end of the scale, but in the US, I had loads of problems using Tinder. Like it was regular that people would just never get back to me, never get matches, that kind of thing. It was really unusual. Whereas here, it is completely different. It is super easy to talk to people, and you more have to just like. It's more about picking from the people you're talking to because you're a foreigner and a lot of people want to interact with you. It's completely different. And it's crazy just how the way you look changes how you are perceived to people. Because in Nicaragua, if you're from the U.S., whether you're like black or white or whatever, you are associated with money. It's literally based on the sound of your voice. And then there's also a thing where if you have lighter skin, you're associated with money. But the accent, if they hear you speaking English, immediately you are associated with money, which in some ways would make people think, oh, they're going to beg from you, they're going to try and steal from you, whatever. And in some cases that's true. But also, it means if you start talking about earning money to a lot of these people, you're perceived as having the authority to do it. Whereas if I was in the U.S., they're just like, whatever, it's just some hippie young kid. So it's really funny how the perceptions are so different and how I can take advantage of those.
Yeah, we all have our advantages, and I guess you have to capitalize on whatever you got.
Yeah, for sure.
That's too funny. Well, I want to change my accountability, and I'm going to change it to moving to Nicaragua next week.
Next week.
Yeah. Oh, man.
You got to visit, man.
$400 a month.
I have a guest room. Isn't that crazy?
Okay, there we go. Man, $400 a month.
And
I
that's
can't
not even.
That. What did you say?
My rent is $130.
Ouch.
Which one of us, Rita? You said, what did you say to Bray or to me?
Did you say you had a guest room? Is that what you said? I didn't catch what you said.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, all right, you guys. I have to get out of here.
Sounds good, man.
For the chat again.
I'm going to look in the live chat real quick. I don't think there's anything there.
I'll see you next time, Rita. Take care.
All right, you take care, Bray.
See you, Bray.
Bye-bye.
See you, Jack.
No comments. All right. See you, Rita. Best of luck.
You too. Bye-bye. Thank you.